Hello students, in today's video I will be discussing carbohydrates with you. So without wasting any time, let's dive straight into today's topic and explore the carbohydrates. It is harmonious and synchronous process of chemical reactions in body which leads to life. A living system grows, sustains and reproduces itself. The most amazing thing about a living system is that it is composed of non-living atoms and molecules. The pursuit of knowledge of what goes on chemically within a living system falls in the domain of biochemistry. Living systems are made up of various complex biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, lipids, etc. Proteins and carbohydrates are essential constituents of our food. These biomolecules interact with each other and constitute the molecular logic of life processes. In addition, some simple molecules like vitamins and minerals, salts also play an important role in the functions of organisms, structures, and functions of some of these biomolecules are discussed in this unit, biomolecules. Thus, we can now define biomolecules and biochemistry as follows. The molecules that participate in and are formed during the biochemical reactions occurring within living organisms are called biomolecules or molecules of life. For example, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, lipids, etc. And the branch of chemistry under which biological molecules are studied is called biochemistry. Carbohydrates are primarily produced by plants and form a very large group of naturally occurring organic compounds. Some common examples of carbohydrates are cane sugar, glucose, starch, etc. Most of carbohydrates have a general formula CxH2O and were considered as hydrates of carbon, from where the name carbohydrate was derived. For example, the molecular formula of glucose C6H12O6 fits into this general formula C6H2O whole 6. But all the compounds which fit into CxH2O whole Y formula may not be classified as carbohydrates. For example, acetic acid CH3COOH fits into this general formula C2H2O whole twice, but it but is not a carbohydrate. Similarly, rhamnose C6H12O5 is a carbohydrate but does not fit in this definition. A large number of reactions of carbohydrates have shown that they contain specific functional groups. Chemically, all the carbohydrates may be defined as optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones or the compounds which produce such units on hydrolysis. Some of the carbohydrates which are sweet in taste are also called sugars. The most common sugar used in our homes is named as sucrose, whereas the sugar present in milk is known as lactose. Carbohydrates are also called saccharides. In Greek, saccharon means sugar. Classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are classified on the basis of their behavior on hydrolysis. They have been broadly divided into following three groups. Number one, monosaccharides. Number two, oligosaccharides. And number three, polysaccharides. Monosaccharides. A carbohydrate that cannot be hydrolyzed further to give simpler unit of polyhydroxy aldehyde or ketones is called a monosaccharide. About 20 monosaccharides are known to occur in nature. Some common examples are glucose, fructose, ribose, etc. Oligosaccharides. Carbohydrates that are yield to 2 to 10 monosaccharides units on hydrolysis are called oligosaccharides. They are further classified as disaccharides, trisaccharides, tetrasaccharides, etc., depending upon the number of monosaccharides they provide on hydrolysis. The most common are disaccharide. The two monosaccharide units obtained on hydrolysis of a disaccharide may be same or different. For example, one molecule of sucrose on hydrolysis gives one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose, whereas maltose gives two molecules of only glucose. Polysaccharides. Carbohydrates which yield a large number of monosaccharide units on hydrolysis are called polysaccharides. Some common examples are starch, cellulose, glycogen, gums, etc. Polysaccharides are not sweet in taste, hence they are also called non-sugars. The carbohydrates may also be classified as either reducing or non-reducing sugars. All those carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens reagent are referred to as reducing sugars. All monosaccharides, whether aldose or ketose, are reducing sugars. Monosaccharides. A carbohydrate that cannot be hydrolyzed further to give simpler unit of polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone is called a monosaccharide. About 20 monosaccharides are known to occur in nature. Some common examples are glucose, fructose, ribose, etc. Monosaccharides are further classified on the basis of number of carbon atoms and the functional group present in them. If a monosaccharide contains an aldehyde group, it is known as an aldose, and if contains a keto group, it is known as a ketose. Number of carbon atoms constituting the monosaccharide is also introduced in the name, as is evident from the examples given in table. 3 carbon atom monosaccharide with aldehyde group called aldotriose. 4 carbon atom monosaccharide with aldehyde group called aldotetrose. 5 carbon atom monosaccharide with aldehyde group called aldopentose. 6 carbon atom monosaccharide with aldehyde group called aldohexose, and 7 carbon atom monosaccharide with aldehyde group called aldohaptose. Similarly, 3 carbon atom monosaccharide with ketone group called ketotriose. 4 carbon atom monosaccharide with ketone group called ketotetrose. 5 carbon atom monosaccharide with ketone group called ketopentose. 6 carbon atom monosaccharide with ketone group called ketohexose, and 7 carbon atom monosaccharide with ketone group called ketohaptose. Glucose. Glucose occurs freely in nature as well as in the combined form. It is present in sweet fruits and honey. Ripe grapes also contain glucose in large amounts. Preparation of glucose. Glucose is prepared as follows. Number 1, from sucrose, cane sugar. If sucrose is boiled with dilute HCl or H2SO4 in alcoholic solution, glucose and fructose are obtained in equal amounts. Number 2, from starch. Commercially, glucose is obtained by hydrolysis of starch by boiling it with dilute H2SO4 at 393 Kelvin under pressure. Glucose is an aldohexose and is also known as dextrose. It is the monomer of many of the larger carbohydrates, namely starch, cellulose. It is probably the most abundant organic compound on Earth. It was assigned the structure given on the basis of the following evidences. Number 1, its molecular formula was found to be C6H12O6. Number 2, on prolonged heating with HI, it forms N-hexane. suggesting that all the six carbon atoms are linked in a straight chain. Number 3. Glucose reacts with hydroxylamine to form an oxime and adds a molecule of hydrogen cyanide to give cyanohydrin. These reactions confirm the presence of a carbonyl group, CO group, in glucose. Number 4. Glucose gets oxidized to 6-carbon carboxylic acid, gluconic acid, on reaction with a mild oxidizing agent like bromine water. This indicates that the carbonyl group is present as an aldehydic group. Number 5. Acetylation of glucose with acetic anhydride gives glucose pentaacetate, which confirms the presence of 5 single bond OH groups since it exists as a stable compound. 5 single bond OH groups should be attached to different carbon atoms. Number 6. On oxidation with nitric acid, glucose as well as gluconic acid yield a dicarboxylic acid, saccharic acid. This indicates the presence of a primary alcoholic single bond OH group in glucose. The exact spatial arrangement of different single bond OH groups was given by Fischer after studying many other properties. Its configuration is correctly represented as first. So gluconic acid is represented as second and saccharic acid as third. Glucose is correctly named as D plus glucose. D before the name of glucose represents the configuration, whereas plus represents dextrorotatory nature of the molecule. It should be remembered that D and L have no relation with the optical activity of the compound. They are also not related to letter small d and small l. The meaning of D and L, capital D and capital L notation is as follows. The letters D, capital D or capital L before the name of any compound indicate the relative configuration of a particular stereoisomer of a compound with respect to configuration of some other compound, configuration of which is known. In the case of carbohydrates, this refers to their relation with a particular isomer of glyceraldehyde. Glyceraldehyde contains one asymmetric carbon atom and exists in two enantiomeric forms as shown below. Plus isomer of glyceraldehyde has D configuration. It means that when its structural formula is written on paper following specific conventions which you will be study in higher classes, the single bond OH group lies on right hand side in the structure. All those compounds which can be chemically correlated to D plus isomer of glyceraldehyde are said to have the configuration, whereas those can be correlated to L minus isomer of glyceraldehyde are said to have L configuration. In L isomer, single bond OH group is on left hand side, as you can see in the structure. For assigning the configuration of monosaccharides, it is the lowest asymmetric carbon atom which is compared as in plus glucose, single bond OH on the lowest asymmetric carbon is on the right side, which is comparable to plus glyceraldehyde. So plus glucose is assigned the configuration. Other asymmetric carbon atoms of glucose are not considered for this comparison. Also, the structure of glucose and glyceraldehyde is written in a way that most oxidized carbon is at the top. Cyclic structure of glucose. The structure first of glucose explained most of its properties, but the following reactions and facts could not be explained by this structure. Number one, despite having the aldehyde group, glucose does not give Sif test and it does not form the hydrogen sulfide addition product with NaHSO3. Number two, pentacetate of glucose does not react with hydroxylamine, indicating the absence of free single bond CHO group. Number three, glucose is found to exist in two different crystalline forms, which are named as alpha and beta. The alpha form of glucose, melting point 419 Kelvin, is obtained by crystallization from concentrated solution of glucose at 303 Kelvin, while the beta form, melting point 423 Kelvin, is obtained by crystallization from hot saturated solution at 371 Kelvin. This behavior could not be explained by the open chain structure. First, for glucose, it was proposed that one of the single bond OH groups may add to the single bond CHO group and form a cyclic hemiacetal structure. It was found that glucose forms a six-membered ring in which single bond OH at C5 is involved in ring formation. This explains the absence of single bond CHO group and also existence of glucose in two forms, as shown below. These two cyclic forms exist in equilibrium with open chain structure. The two cyclic hemiacetal forms of glucose differ only in the configuration of the hydroxyl group at C1 called anomeric carbon, the aldehyde carbon before cyclization. Such isomers, that is alpha form and beta form, are called anomers. The six-membered cyclic structure of glucose is called pyranose structure, alpha or beta. In analogy with pyron, pyron is a cyclic organic compound with one oxygen atom and 5 carbon atoms in the ring. The cyclic structure of glucose is more correctly represented by Haworth structure as given below. Fructose. Fructose is an important ketohexose. It is obtained along with glucose by the hydrolysis of disaccharide sucrose. It is a natural monosaccharide found in fruits, honey, and vegetables. In its pure form, it is used as a sweetener. It is also an important ketohexose structure of fructose. Fructose also has the molecular formula C6H12O6, and on the basis of its reactions, it was found to contain a ketonic functional group at carbon number 2 and 6 carbon in straight chain, as in the case of glucose. It belongs to D series and is a levorotatory compound. It is appropriately written as D minus fructose. Its open chain structure is as shown. It also exists in two cyclic forms, which are obtained by the addition of single bond OH at C5 to the CO group. The ring thus formed is a 5-membered ring and is named as furanose, with analogy to the compound furan. Furan is a 5-membered cyclic compound with one oxygen atom and 4 carbon atoms. The cyclic structure of two anomers of fructose are represented by Haworth structure as given. Disaccharides. Disaccharides on hydrolysis with dilute acids or enzymes yield two molecules of either the same or different monosaccharides. The two monosaccharides are joined together by an oxide linkage formed by the loss of a water molecule. Such linkage between two monosaccharide units through oxygen atom is called glycosidic linkage. In disaccharides, if the reducing groups of monosaccharides, that is aldehydic or ketonic groups, are bonded, these are non-reducing sugars, for example sucrose. And in disaccharides, if sugars in which aldehydic or ketonic functional groups are free are called reducing sugars. For example, maltose and lactose. The first example in disaccharides is sucrose. One of the common disaccharide is sucrose, which on hydrolysis gives equimolar mixture of D plus glucose and D minus fructose. Sucrose is dextrorotatory, but after hydrolysis gives dextrorotatory glucose and levorotatory fructose invert sugar. Since the levo rotation of fructose minus 92.4 degree is more than dextro rotation of glucose plus 52.5 degree, the mixture is levo rotatory. Thus, hydrolysis of sucrose brings about a change in the sign of rotation from dextro plus to levo minus, and the product is named as invert sugar. Second example of disaccharide is maltose. Disaccharide maltose is composed of two alpha D glucose units in which C1 of one glucose is linked to C4 of another glucose unit. The free aldehyde group can be produced at C1 of second glucose in solution, and it shows reducing properties, so it is a reducing sugar. The third example of disaccharide is lactose. It is more commonly known as milk sugar. Since this disaccharide is found in milk, it is composed of beta D galactose and beta D glucose. The linkage is between C1 of galactose and C4 of glucose. Free aldehyde group may be produced at C1 of glucose unit, hence it is also a reducing sugar. Polysaccharides. Polysaccharides contain a large number of monosaccharide units joined together by glycosidic linkages. These are the most commonly encountered carbohydrates in nature. They mainly act as the food storage or structural materials. The first example of polysaccharides is starch. Starch is the main storage polysaccharide of plants. It is the most important dietary source for human beings. High content of starch is found in cereals, roots, tubers, and some vegetables. It is a polymer of glucose and consists of two components, amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is a water soluble component which constitutes about 15 to 20% of starch. Chemically, amylose is a long unbranched chain with 200 to 1000 alpha D plus glucose units held together by C1C4 glycosidic linkage. Amylopectin is insoluble in water and constitutes about 80 to 85% of starch. It is a branched chain polymer of alpha D glucose units in which chain is formed by C1C4 glycosidic linkase, whereas branching occurs by C1C6 glycosidic linkage. Second example of polysaccharides is cellulose. Cellulose occurs exclusively in plants and it is the most abundant organic substance in plant kingdom. It is a the dominant constituent of cell wall of plant cells. Cellulose is a straight chain polysaccharide composed only of beta D glucose units which are joined by glycosidic linkage between C1 of one glucose unit and C4 of the next glucose unit. The third example of starch is glycogen. The carbohydrates are stored in animal body as glycogen. It is also known as animal starch because its structure is similar to amylopectin and is rather more highly branched. It is present in liver, muscles, and brain. When the body needs glucose, enzymes breaks the glycogen down to glucose. Glycogen is also found in yeast and fungi. In importance of carbohydrates, first is carbohydrates are essential for life in both plants and animals. They form a major portion of our food. Number two, honey has been used for a long time as an instant source of energy by Veds in Ayurvedic system of medicine. Number three, carbohydrates are used as storage molecules as starch in plants and glycogen in animals. And number four, cell wall of bacteria and plants is made up of cellulose. Number five, we build furniture, etc. from cellulose in the form of wood and clothe ourselves with cellulose in the form of cotton fiber. Number six, carbohydrates provides raw materials for many important industries like textile, paper, liquor, and breweries. Number seven, the aldopentoses such as T-ribose and 2-deoxyribose are present in nucleic acids. Number 8, carbohydrates are found in biosystem in combination with many proteins and lipids. So students, you have just learned about the carbohydrates. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to and share the channel. Also, leave a comment to get answers to your questions in the next video. That is all for now. See you in the next video.